You know what I've been noticing is that I'm evolving. I showed pictures in my other videos of what I looked like when I was in my 40s and what I look like now compared to there. I'm in a different dimension of time, really, because I look like I should be back in the times of the Old Testament and the beginnings of the New Testament. Those type of people. Because they all walked around with long hair, mustache, beard, which today is a sign of a street corner bum, which I am. But I used to be a ninth grade street corner bum. Now I'm a two 4-year degrees with 1 2-year degree, sports medicine and sociology. Work with juvenile delinquents and stuff. I did that for quite a while. I was an evaluator. So then I went on to be a real estate broker, salesman for 6 years, and then broker. Total of 15 years of salesman experience as a real estate broker and salesman. So I went. God allowed me to go all those roads. I learned something in them all. I could buy and sell. I had a broker's license. I could represent millionaires. And I was a licensed broker, in New York State. I was there for quite a while, too. You had to go to school 22 and a half hours to keep your licenses for real estate. It's like being in college constantly. And even if you took all the courses that are offered, you could take them over again. They just wanted you to be in tune with real estate. Review it, and pay for it, because they get it too. Because I guess they were like getting 600,000 a year with all the total gatherings they get from dues and schools and all that stuff. Then they got to run their staff off that money. That's over $500,000. So I don't know that they have to come up with to run the program where I'm located. That was back 20 years ago, though, too. So there are still real estate guys in there when I was there. I think it was like back in 2004 I left, somewhere around there. And that was 20 years ago. Somewhere around there I left, I became an agent in 1996. I was 46. Somewhere around there. Could have been 45, could have been 47. Going back, man. If I was going back, if I was 50, that's going back 26 years ago. I gotta remember everybody's names and all that. I haven't even seen them in 26 years. It's like my guitars. I put them up I hung them up for 23 years. I tuned them up once in a while and played a few old songs, that I wrote and stuff. Once in a great while, right? But I didn't practice every day like a guitarist should. I have been, and my guitar is, and my rhythm and my voice. Plus, I'm playing my harmonica every day with the 12-string. 12-string and my harmonica, I can cook. I can cook lightly. If I had it electrified, which I'm coming up with a new thing now, because of the wires and they're driving me nuts. Wires are. I play my guitar and I'm not even plugged in. I'm trying to say, why isn't the guitar working right? And I'm not even plugged in because there's so many wires going all over the place. I thought I plugged it in, Jeepers. So anyway, so now I got these things that are wireless. I'm going to try them. I got them in my pocket. I'm going to try them with my, I got a D'Angelica guitar. It's called the Angelica guitar. And I think about Mother Angelica on EWTN. And I got that guitar. I got an Angelica guitar. She's always been in my life since I was young, in my 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s, 80, almost 80. I'm 76. She was a little bit older than me. And I remember sitting down when I was in my 20s and 30s listening to her a lot. Listen to Mother Angelica. She'd sit down and just talk with everybody like they were her family, you know. And she cracked jokes, and, you know, she very humorous. She had deep insight into the Bible, too. She brought out things that, you know, are deep down inside me that I can't recall, but if I was confronted with it, I'd be aware of it because she made me aware of it. And I said, oh, because, you know, you don't think about something until it comes up. I said, oh, Mother Angelica was talking about that. I know about a situation like this. You know, things like that. So, that is all I'm trying to do right now is just establish that. When I started this tape, I had the thought, you know, what makes a man quit looking for God when he's looking for him his whole life? You know, what makes a man quit? The devil tries as hard as he can right at the end. You know, every accident you have in your old man, and he goes, where's your God? Where's your God now? Huh? While you're laying on the ground in agony because you're old and feeble and you slipped and fell, and the devil just, you know, you're laying there going, oh, God, jeepers, oh, my knee, oh, my ankle, oh. And you're there for 10 minutes, close to it. Heck, I had icicles on my jacket. I was laying there for so long. Agony. And I finally got up and I hobbled. Then I stood up and I could walk. I walked into the house with pain, but I walked into the house. And then I hyperextended my knee, not, you know, this way. I mean, it went back so far that it took the knuckles, see if my knuckle is my knee. It put my finger, I mean, my leg so far back when I fell down on it, because this is my knee. I'm pretend this is my knee. Right here. So when I fell down, my other foot went out that way, and this one went that way. So when I fell down, look what I fell on. My knee right there. See this knee right here? Picture it like that, right at the end of my nose. Picture my knee going as back as far as it can go, and then you put your 250 pounds sits on top of it, going, and how it what does it do to your kneecap? It pushes it in, and the bones want to come apart this way, and one go that way, and one go this way. And with all that weight on here, and I'm laying there in agony because I felt things tear inside there and everything as it was happening. It's happened so fast, so quick. And then you're down on the ground and you know the feeling that your knee just went through. It's in your head, you know. Oh, that tearing in there. Oh, I'm going to be hobbling for the rest of my life. Oh, God, why did this have to happen? And then in the background you hear, Where's your God now, Billy? Huh? Where is he now? Where's your God now? And I stood back. I said, well, how am I going to answer that one? And I said, oh, he's around here someplace. Can't you feel him? I can feel him. He's around here someplace. I'm just a feeble old man, and I fell because I made the mistake of the way I did the driveway. I tried to put a big rubber mat over the rubber wood chips I'm using for my driveway, so I don't have to put a new driveway in, right? And it's working fine. But in the wintertime, putting a snowblower through there with all them wood chips. I think maybe before winter goes, what I think I'm going to do, and I've just thought of it too, as I'm talking to you guys. I'm just going to take and brush with my, I have two ways of doing it. I can brush it with a broom, or I can brush it with my, I have this thing you wash houses with, a power washer. And I can power wash them to the side for the winter time. Pile everything up in the winter time. And then in the springtime, when the spring comes along and the snow's gone, I can take a rake and just rake it right back. That's what I think I'm going to do. Because underneath it is asphalt. So if I come in, it's better than getting out. And the asphalt will be there, and it'll be better than getting out the snow. And it wouldn't be all them wood chips coming up through my snowblower going all over the place, They're not wood chips, they're rubber chips. See, I took an old asphalt driveway and just put rubber chips over it. And I've had it for a couple of years now, and it's comfortable to have it. It's like a homey feeling to have a driveway with your whole driveway is all it is rubber wood chips. It looks like wood chips. Wood chip driveway, but they're rubber. They're all rubber, different colors too, dark brown, black. You can even get white and mix it in, swirl it around and stuff, make it look really cool, That's what I've done with the black and the browns. I'll have all the black, and then I'll say, okay, I'll put a nice brown one right in the middle of it, and then I swirl it around. It looks cool, man. And I didn't have to pay $3,000, $4,000 to some guy to come in and repave my 3 driveways I got out in front. One guy, the last time I had it done was $2,200, 20 with the tax, 24, something like that, to have my driveways done. Well, they were getting kind of cracky and stuff, so I says, I'm not going to go pay $3,000 again, man. Even though I paid that probably 15, 20 years ago or something like that. I've been here since 1980. And what is it right now? 26, and done it 20, it's 46 years I'm here. In the same place. Can't believe I settled down. I'm a hermitage. I'm a hermit. I have a big fence around my house ever since I bought the place. I was involved with Mount St. Francis Hermitage. I built a lot of stuff up there, and they gave me their fence. They were going to put it up around the dwelling up there, but they had to have a big work team, dig all these holes and everything, and I built all those things, and they were going to just let this fence be there. I said, what are you going to do with that fence? They said, oh, you want it? Yeah, you get it out of here. It's just taking up that part of the garage there. They had it in the garage, in big piles. It was like 40 sections, 8-foot fence, 6 foot high. I said, take it, because I built all this stuff for them up there. And they said, go ahead, you can have that. Just get it off the property. Because I was actually, they wanted it. They wanted it off the property too. So, but whenever they had to have something like an animal encased, caged, they always had the sections of fence. They could go in and get 10 sections because they had 40 sections or so, whatever they were there. If they ever had to use it for something, to fence something off, they had the fence. So that was one nice thing about it, but it was getting old, real old. It was an old Hermitage fence from the original Hermitage. I got their fence from the original Hermitage. And I still have sections of it up out and back. The one section is my kitty corner property. The property next to me in the back there is made out of that fence. You got a couple sections up in here on my side of the property. It's old Hermitage, Mount St. Francis Hermitage fence. From Mount St. Francis Hermitage up in Maine, New York there. That's where I used to donate some time on certain days. They'd have work days up there, and I'd go up there and help them out. I was a carpenter. I had, all the power tools and all that, nail guns and everything. So I built their wood sheds in the back of their cabins. I don't know how many cabins they got up there. I can't remember. It's been 50 years. I come back up there when the new guys are in there, right? They don't know who I am, I am walking in, and I'm asking for Eucharist for my wife to take home. They're looking at me and they're going, they don't know who I am, And so, because I have been up there, and they're new. They came in new. Same thing as like my neighborhood right now. All the old people left now, the new ones come in. They don't know who you are and what you did for the property and all that stuff. What I did for their property up there, Mount St. Francis. Nobody knew me. They wanted me to get, they wouldn't give me communion to take home to my wife without a note from my priest. And I'm going, I had a chance to own this place. They wanted to sell it to me for $60,000 at one time. I could have had the whole thing for $60,000. And all I looked at it was, well, yeah, I'll be on top of them roofs doing them for the rest of my life. I don't think so. That's what I thought about that. All I'm going to do is be the caretaker here and pay the bill, too. And then when I fold, they get it all back anyways. I had some stupid guy. So I didn't go for it. Well, it was God's will, because we were going to make a retreat out of it. Because Susan and I played guitars, and we had a lot of retreat experience and all that stuff. And I don't know, she's pouting around. I gotta end this. Hold on. Yeah. Go to a celibate doctor. So I use celibate rather than F word. Go celibate yourself. I just do it opposite because that's what Satan did to our language. He took our words and made them sound like, like the word, like the Richard. The nickname is Dick, right? That's a masculine name for a man, right? But he made it in the English language. Hey, man. Hey, dickhead. Or hey, big dick. Or, dick. He used the word dick. Satan used the word dick. And I had an uncle that his name was Richard. They used to call him Dick. But they used to really, how they did with Tricky Dicky, the the President of the United States, he was called Tricky Dicky. His name was Richard Nixon, right? President of the United States, right? He called him Tricky Dicky. That word, that word, dick. Oh God! Think about it. It's funny. It is funny. Oh, God. Oh God! I guess I guess I'm sick-minded as well as being sick physically. I'm getting sick mentally. I got a sick sense of humor, laughing, sick jokes. I mean, not unholy sick jokes. I'm just saying, kind of like, the sick humor, the sick humor of things. Like I was talking about the word dick. Well, the other one is the word facunda. I think it's in the Bible, not the Bible, but the dictionary. I don't think the word. I never. I never seen. I, no. Oh, don't do that to me. I'm getting all these thoughts. When Jesus was going through the temple with that whip in his hand, and he's flogging everybody. Yeah, what are you doing at my father's house? Tipping over all the money tables and everything. Did he use the word facunda? Oh, the facunda's going. Oh, God. Oh, see what I mean by having a sick sense of humor? I gotta lift this up to Jesus every morning. I think like this. He watches me think like this. Where do I get my thoughts from? I mean, I surrendered. I said, Jesus, I put it all in your hands. You take over. I surrender. I surrender. I surrender. Jesus, I surrender. I surrender to you, Lord. I surrender to you. I surrender, Lord. I surrender. I surrender. I surrender to you. Holy Jesus, oh, bless me, for I have sinned. Holy Jesus, bring me back into your heart again. I've returned from my sin and sorrow, God. Please heal me. From my heart I pray to your heart. God, please heal me. Heal me, God. Please heal me. I was really praying there. I forgot I was recording this. And that's how I have my prayer sessions once in a while with God. When I'm not singing, I'm sad. That's why I wear shades, sunglasses, and stuff, so I don't let you see the sorrow in my eyes. Because these are what I've inherited in my old age. Sorrow. Sorrow for humanity. Jesus is here and nobody is paying attention. All you need to do is eat his body and drink his blood and confess your sin, and you will live forever. That's what Jesus said. John 6, read the whole chapter, John 6, in the New Testament. 3 times he says, if you eat my body and drink my blood, you proclaim my name on earth. You share my suffering. When I come, you'll share in my glory. So all who suffer, who cry with their tears for God and asking, why, God? Why do I have to suffer so much? I've suffered my whole life. Why do I have to still suffer? And then you remember Jesus on the cross and his suffering for us. And he didn't have to suffer because he didn't have sin. He wasn't born with sin, into sin, without sin. He was born without sin. His mother was too. They were the Immaculate Conceptions. His mother was immaculately conceived as well as his God's Son, Jesus, whom became the face of God to humanity. He is God. God dwells within him, and he dwells within the Father. He said, I must ascend to the Father now, who is greater than I. It's the love between the Father and the Son that becomes the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit is what is shared between all those who learn how to love God and want to know and love God. If you want to do your own thing, gain the whole world, then you lose your soul. What good was it to gain the whole world and lose your soul? Oh, you can see there's billionaires that have found that out. And you say, what are they doing? Why are they giving all their money away? Because they found out they had not stored any treasures in heaven, but helping out those who are in need. You're storing treasures in heaven. It's a wise investment with all your money. Very wise investment. Because when you die, you got a big bank account. Yeah, because you stored your treasure in heaven by helping out God's children. So water wells in Kenya, I'm begging. I want to see so many water wells it will turn the desert into the Garden of Eden again. Once Africa will bloom if we can bring the water up under it. So invest your money in this world and don't go to Mars looking for water. We got a lot of water right here that we haven't explored yet. Take that money, $71 billion that we spent last year to go see if there was some water on Mars. They said there is. Oh, well. Oh, good. Who wants to go? Hey, everybody, there's water on Mars. Who wants to get on, get up there and live in one of them bubbles? For free now, you know. All we'll do is just monitor you and see how long you'll live. And they'll get some desperate people, man, that living off the street. Yeah, I'll do that. That's better than what I got. With all that money that you spent to go to Mars, there shouldn't be anybody on the street desperate, looking for a house, or trying to fill their grocery bag or something, bagging and going to the churches on their days and getting a food pantry and all that. That shouldn't have to be in the United States of America. Why is it when we've spent $71 billion last year to go to Mars? What are we doing? Is that how much it costs to impress the world? Or that's where we get our technology from? Well, yeah. But it keeps us in ahead. There's a lot of top secret stuff we don't know anything about. And China is taking over. They're absorbing us into their economy. We owe them so much money right now. They came and took all of our everything without paying for the patents or anything. Made them themselves. Put them on the market. Beat us on the market. Child labor, 50 cents an hour and stuff. Come on. You can't do that in the United States, you know, so that's how they beat us all around, you know. They got a billion people more than we do. Imagine how big their economy is. And they hid it under a blanket. Didn't let us know how advanced they were. They just made us think that, we're a sandpan country. We have people in the hay fields and picking rice and with big sun hats on, and you see a sampan floating, you know, and the sun behind it, you know, how quaint China is, you know, way back, you know. Oh, they're real primitive people. They're still way back in the 2000 BC or what it is. You know, those type of people still exist. And if you go to Victoria Peak in Hong Kong, this is before it was given back. There's Victoria Peak there, and I went to the top of it. And I stood on the top, and there's this big tower on the top of it with binoculars that you can look at China to your right. If you turn to the right, you can look at China, and all you could see was floating sampans on the lakes and grass, because we're way up in the sky. I'm looking down, you know. They got binoculars and everything. And all these people are in the fields and they're picking rice, and they got these great big huge hats on that they've made out of the grass, real tall grass stuff that they were picking rice in or something. I think they make hats and stuff out of the rice leaves or something like that. I don't know. There's a lot of, that whole rice thing there is, they come up with a clump, and that's how they bring it in the clump. So when they chop it up, what do they do? Those stems that are coming up out of it, what are they? Do they make things out of them and stuff? Probably do. That's what I would guess. So, because those people, you give them something and they'll take it and improve it. They will. They put their imagination in it, saying, how can I make it look better? what can I do to it to make it look better, even though it's an American design? Because I've seen them do a lot of stuff like that on the internet. They've got some good carpenters that work in the shop making big stuff. I'm not talking about little teeny things, like a wood shop or something like that. I'm talking about these guys are making big stuff like big tables for conference rooms, and they make them so they look like there's a river flowing through them, and they're like glass on top of them. Oh, man, they come on river tables. They're gorgeous, man. That's all that stuff has come over. Or did it come from us with our polyfiber resin and stuff and all that polyresins and, pouring this and pouring that. They got floors now that all you have to do is pour it and let it harden and it settles itself. What? What do you want me to do?
Leave me alone. I asked you to fucking do anything.
I've got to go. She's not feeling good, so I got to hang up here. So this is it. Say, let me, God bless y'all. I'll come back, okay? I was just saying, I fell three nights ago, right? I was supposed to go to the emergency room, and she is, at nighttime, she can't drive at night. I had to go to the emergency room with my niece, so I just laid here the next day, and it felt better. I says, well, maybe it's going to start feeling better. So I didn't go that day again. Sat around with that EPOV vibrator, vibrating my knee and vibrating my leg, and doing that and looking on the internet for muscles, in your leg and around your knee, because I felt the cartilage rip away from my bone when I went down. If you look at your knee, say this is my knee. Okay, let's just, well, how can we do it? Okay, this is my knee right here, right? But it's my finger, but it's just picture it as my knee. Okay, so when I fell, I slipped out. I slipped under, right? But when I slipped under, one leg, my right leg, went out in front of me, and my other leg went the other way because I slipped under it, and it made it go that way. And then the other one flew out the other way, and when I went down on that, and when I went down, all my weight went right on my knee, and made it. I felt it, man. And I heard everything go rip. Oh shit! I'm laying there. Oh, ow, ow, ow. I don't know how long it was there. All I know is when I got up, I had icicles on my coat. So, jeepers. They were embedded in my coat. I was laying there for so long. Man. So I got up. Nobody knows anything. I didn't holler for anybody or anything. Call an ambulance or anything. I didn't do that. So I hobbled up. I got up. While I'm down there, I'm looking up under my wife's car, because I fell right behind it. So a guy was trying to tell me, hey, do something out there, as your wife is going to get this done with her, and it kill her if this happened to her. You're a big rugged guy, but this is, you'll survive, but this is a warning here. Anyways. Here I am. The last time I went outside for 1 hour, I come back and sneezing and coughing and stuff. And then I sat down and it got worse and worse and worse. And that was 2 weeks ago. And here I am right now again. Feeling a little bit better. But not feeling too happy about things. I'm feeling very sad about a lot of things. A lot of suffering and stuff you go through, in your last days. If these aren't my last days, am I going to get better? I don't know. But I'm not going to go there and have them analyze me and say, oh, you've got lung cancer. Oh, what are you going to do about it, Give me all them drugs and everything, then I don't have any brains either when you're done. I'm just like, I don't want that. So I'm not going to go get my lungs x-rayed, especially with a CT scan at my age. You're asking for death within 5 years after you get one. I'm not some young little man running around 20, 30 years old. Yeah, okay, I can have a CT scan. Okay, go get him. Like I did when I was young. I don't know how many CT scans I had because I had kidney stones. I had a lot of things. I even had, they inject you with a dye. So your kidneys so they can see what's in your kidneys. A radioactive dye of some sort. Oh, man. I remember the dye that they put in me for regular that swelled my eye. I had allergic reaction to it. Swelled my eyes all up where I couldn't see none. And they were like golf balls, when you close your eyes, they're all swollen up and everything. So I couldn't do that anymore. They couldn't see the kidney stones. When I would say I have a kidney stone, they had to do that dye, so they can see where they are. Because if I go and have them x-rayed and all that stuff, back when they first came out with lithotripsy, where they blast you with it looks like a big spark plug, but huge, like I think it's like 18 inches long. Because I used to have one. It's around here someplace, buried somewhere in a box. They gave me when they first came out with it. I said, "What do you do with those when they go bad?" He says, "Because they're only good for like 25,000 shots or something like that. Depends on how many that they have to burst into you. That shoots a bolt of a shock bolt, like a spark plug signal into your kidney, man. And they break them stones up, and they put a stent up your groin, into your groin, through your penis up into your urethra and stuff to drain the stones out. They grind them all up. They hit it with that lithotripsy, but you don't get operated on because they wanted to operate on me, cut me open and get them here in Binghamton. It's emergency. You're 95% blocked. And the guy's there, and I smelled the alcohol on his breath too when he came in the door. Oh, you're 95% blind. Listen to this. We gotta do it. Emergency. I got a bar bill I gotta pay, man. I need, let's get it done tonight. I said, oh, wait a minute, man. Because what happened was he was talking to me, and I backed up, and there was this nurse there that knew my sister. My sister was the executive secretary of Lourdes Hospital, right? And she knew my sister, and she knew I was her brother. And she came up behind me, and she goes, Bill, they don't do surgery on kidney stones anymore. They do lithotripsy. And I said, what's lithotripsy? I looked around. She says, they don't do intrusive surgery on kidney stones. They hit them with these are, she explained it to me, I'm not going to go through it. I can't remember everything she said, but she goes, and she's telling me she came up behind me, she told me that. I didn't know who it was a nurse there. She, because the doctor says that he's trying to get me to sign papers and go right into emergency surgery because I'm 95% blocked and I could die from kidney infection or something. He was telling me, right? So, anyways, I didn't go for it. When that nurse told me, I said, well, I can't do it tonight. I just can't do it tonight. Okay, let me go home and I'll get back with you. He goes, okay, but we got to get it done as soon as possible. I said, okay. So I went home and I checked it all out, found out what lithotripsy was. And Danville, PA, had a lithotripsy machine for the VA. And I was covered. So I ended up down there and they blasted my kidney stones. I was okay. Everything went fine. I come home and I don't have a 10-inch scar like like the caveman doctors here in Binghamton wanted to do again to me. They tied my nuts to a 2x4 when I woke up one time trying to get an undescended testicle fixed. The doctor, comes in, he's looking at me, oh, we can fix that. And my mother and father go, okay, well, we got the insurance and all that stuff. They're on some type of a program. So I woke up the next morning and I felt this tugging sensation on my groin area. And I reached down there and there was a string. It was a dark black string. Thicker than, like the same that you wrap supermarket meat with. Back in the olden days, they used to wrap the meat up, It was a strong string. Well, that's what, it was black though. And I felt it and I felt it had a twang to it because that's how taut it was. Because I found out what was it tied to. It was tied into my scrotum through my testicle, and they're trying to hold it down into my sack, right? And then that string went from my testicle. This is caveman stuff, people. You won't believe this. That string went from my testicle to the corner of my left knee, which they bent and put a 2x4 on it and surgically taped it around my leg and put a nail in it and tied that string to it. And I was there in agony for weeks with my nuts tied to 2x4. Yeah. I offered that up to Jesus. That's a suffering, man. That's a suffering. And I deserved every bit of it, too. But so I offer it up to Jesus. That's my suffering. That I think was my worst. But man, I have had some worse sufferings than that. I had a Japanese beetle go down my ear last year. None this year. I didn't see any Japanese beetles, really. Of course, I wasn't out much because I was sick. I've been sick 750 some 60 days almost now, since November the 24th, 2023. Till now, I've had pneumonia. Coughing, hacking, choking. I thought I was feeling good about a week. How many weeks? About 3 weeks ago. So I went outside. I took a shower. And I sat around and I'm going to go out there and fix the lights on my fence. There wasn't any snow or anything. It was chilly out, but I'm a heavy guy, 250 at the time, a couple of weeks ago. Probably down in the 230s by now because I don't eat a lot. I'm a munchy guy, and if I munch on walnuts or something like that. Something that's not fattening. but it's nutritious. You know, other little things I munchy on. I try to watch my, because I know what it's like. I NutriBlend most of my food. Sometimes I get, I'm going to have a meal I got to eat. I'm, yelling and chewing and everything. I got to get my dental work done. I lost teeth, my canine teeth. I still got the root in there. They didn't take it out. The dentist says, no, it just broke off. For some reason, I broke it and it snapped right off. It's gone. I got the other, I got a canine on this side. It's gone. It's gone now. So they got to take and put a bridge. I gotta get my teeth fixed. Get my teeth fixed. In my old age, that would be nice. I can smile again. And I talk to you like this, You notice how deep my voice has gotten? I don't know if anybody knew me in years past, but I got COVID and I survived it. And I was, 73 when I got it, 2003. 2023, I got COVID. 14 days I had it. Got it on the 24th November 2023, and on December the 8th, November 24th till December the 8th, I had COVID-19. And I tested positive for it on the 24th, so I kept on testing myself daily. And on December the 8th, which is the Feast of the Immaculate Conception, and I wear that medal, I was delivered from COVID. I tested negative now. So that's a testimony. I have to suffer for that testimony. You gotta pay, man. If you're gonna put faith in people's hearts, you gotta pay. It don't come free. God grants it. It's like when they lowered that one guy that crippled down through the ceiling to Jesus. They lowered him down through, and Jesus saw him. He was crippled, and he made it so he could walk and everything. He says, "The faith of your friends is who healed you." So we can intercede for people and try to help them out the best that we can. And God is in command after that. Because when we lower everything to Him, He can heal it, or He can say, "I never knew him, never knew her. She's not destined, or he's not destined, or whatever." But He would heal you. Because He didn't know who that. They just loaded him down through the ceiling, right? All 4 guys, lowering their friend down. Jesus will heal them. Oh, their faith was, if we could only get him down there. So they tore the roof off where Jesus was in. They tore the roof off and lowered the guy down through the roof. Right? See, the faith of your friends is what heals you. Is what got you healed, man. The faith of your friends. So is it good to hang around with people who have faith? Faith in God. Eat His body, drink His blood, confess your sin, live in that community that does that. It's out there. One of them is Cresceo. Then there's the Franciscan Third Order. And then there's other orders that they have, like the Marians have a Marian helpers. The same thing, but instead of going through a program where they're looking you over for a year before they let you in, you got to be a postulant or something like that. You just call them up and you're in. You're a member, and you get all their benefits. Their priests say they have mentioned your needs and everything every day when they say masses. They say all the members of the Marian helpers. Yep. So that's what I've been told, and I got a certificate on the wall and all that. Marian helpers blessing our home and all that. That's pretty cool. I got Pope Benedict too. He gave a certificate thanking us for 30 years of service as DRE, and I worked as her assistant for nothing. I didn't get paid. And we went minimum wage anyway, so my wife could have been a doctor, but she probably wouldn't have hung around with me for too long. She got up that high, she'd be hanging around with all the doctors. So that happened to a friend of mine. He educated his wife, right? And she went and got her degree and all that. Come back, lawyer and all that. And here he is, he's a carpenter, but he put her through college, paid her way and all that stuff. Got married to her. And she gets her degree and gets with all of her uppity uppies and lawyer friends and all the other friends. Billy didn't fit in, because they asked, "What are you doing?" Oh, I build houses. These guys are all top execs. They're making some big money, And Billy's lucky if he's making 30 grand a year. But he helped his wife go through, the college. It was a girl. I can even tell you a relation. She was related to me, what this happened to. I'm going to die. This is history. Nobody's going to be able to trace this down. You don't know my history, my family life. Who cares? I'm just telling you the story. This is what happened. And nobody's name is going to be mentioned. You can trace it or anything. And, well, anyways, this could just be a story. Let's just say that. This is just a story. I'm using members of my friendship as an example. And I'm putting them into my story. What happened to them. What I saw happen to them. Okay. So this good friend of mine, I was in business with him too. I loved him like a brother, man. He was a good guy. And he got married to my cousin. And he put her through college and everything. After she got her degree, a lawyer and all that stuff, she got in with her lawyer friends, and they're having this big lawyer convention out in Las Vegas. Yeah. And he was invited, so he flew out, got in there. And in Vegas, it's a 1-day divorce. You're handed your papers, you're divorced, period. And she lured him in. She handed him his papers for divorce. 1 day. He walked right into it. All that time. She was a beautiful girl, too. But she grew up. She was just a young girl, like a teenager, really, when when he started going out with her. And then she got her degree and everything. I think she's around 29 years old when it happened. Somewhere around there, I can't remember exactly. I remember that's what happened to a friend of mine. It was terrible that happened to him, I didn't have any children, though, so it wasn't too bad of a divorce, You hand you your papers. I would have said, no, I want a settlement. Hey, man, I want my money back I paid for your degree with. That's what I would have said. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll sign the divorce and all that stuff. When she pays me back all the money that I paid for her to get her degree, and then shit can me. Because that's how it gets, man. I remember the family she came from. He wasn't a bad guy. He was my second cousin or something like that. I was on my dad's side. And he wasn't a bad guy. Tough guy, too. Kicked the shit out of my dad. Yeah, they were the same age. They got in a fight. And he kicked the shit out of my father. My dad was a tough guy. An ex MP, Marine, that worked in the brig. You come to the brig and he's looking you over through the bars and says, okay, he opens up the door, and he opens up the door and you come in. And he says, get in here. And he says, okay. They close the door and he locks it like that. And he goes over and he looks you over. He says, you're in and you ain't getting out until your time's up. And you're not going to like your time here because I'm going to make it miserable for you so you don't ever want to come back. So, attention. And it was to the left, and it was to the left, to the left, to the left, right to your cell where you sat and thought about your crime. You know what my crime was? This is what happened to me. I missed the bus. I just come back from Vietnam. I got a bronze medal for being in the war zone, bravery. Another medal of bravery. I just come back from Vietnam, and I missed ship's movement because the buses went on strike in San Francisco, and I couldn't get back in time. And there goes the ship over the horizon. And I looked at it, and I said, see, to turn myself into the MP since my wife was back in an apartment. She don't know what's going on, right? They would grab me, and how would I contact my wife? She's in an apartment, right? So I'm just going to go back to the apartment as I watch my ship go over the horizon away. They took off without me. So, I mean, and you couldn't get, I told them I could take a cab, but I don't have any money, Nobody offered to give me cab money to get there. I says, and the buses went on strike. How am I going to get there? Got to hitchhike. And they said, well, the hitchhike killers out there, right? They're outlawed hitchhiking in that area. Weren't allowed to hitchhike in that area. And all the hitchhikers were picked up and investigated and all that stuff. So I was out there with my uniform on, hitchhiking it back to that ship. It was an aircraft carrier. They put me on it, going back to Vietnam, right? And I hadn't been home for, I don't know, a month or two, and they're sending me back to Vietnam. I said, man, what is this, man? I just got back. Now they got me on a ship going back over there. And then I find out it was against the law what they were doing. You can't send a person back to Vietnam for 6 months after they come back from the battle zone. After they come off the battle lines, especially me, I was decorated for bravery, and I got a bronze medal for it. I got a bronze. It goes right on your stripe that goes on your lapel, and it's a star. So it's actually a bronze star. Yeah. The bronze star is your service in the combat zone. You have to spend so many days in a combat zone to get one. And it has to be over 30 days. So, and I had that in. And it was constant 30 days, every night, battle. And you should hear some of my stories I tell you about what my battle station was, what I had to go through, and how I ended up with my head almost blown off, too. Friendly fire. I got away with it, too. I was too stupid and young. I should have just really put up a big stink about it right from the time. But it took me a couple of days to figure out what actually happened to me. The guy on my ship in Vietnam, he was a ship fitter welder, and I was his apprentice helper. I just got out of boot camp and I went to welding school. So I'm a ship fitter welder apprentice. So we had to share bunk. When he was on duty, I could sleep in his bunk because there was 157 guys on the ship and only 75 bunks. So I wasn't the only one that had to share the bunk. Everybody else did too. And I don't know. So anyway, and it was 100. You got to remember, it's 110 degrees out where we are, and you sweat. And I don't care, even if you go down into the air conditioner, it might be 88 down there. And that's real cool compared to about 110 when you're up on deck. And it's muggy, hot 110 too. And it doesn't smell good either. It's the smell of Agent Orange and diesel fuel when you're on top of the deck out. Fresh air, bullcrap, no such thing as fresh air. Not when you're running through Agent Orange after you sprayed it. See, they had to spray the Agent Orange because there was these big leaves. And these people are little people. They sneak in and sneak out. They live in holes in the ground because it's 60 degrees underneath the ground. If you go down, 60 degrees. It's better than 110 degrees, like air conditioning. So they go down, and at night they come up, they're hungry. So they go and they raid villages. They rape the women. They kill their husbands. They're trying to defend their family. They kill them, and they steal their kids. Make them come back and dig holes down deep in the ground. So we had to go down and get them, flush them out. If you were a small guy and you were in the army, and they put you in Vietnam, they saw what size you were. Oh, okay, you go to Vietnam. And a little guy, why would they want to send a little guy no bigger than a midget, slender and sleek? Because he's about the same size as the Vietnam, the Viet Cong that lived down in these holes, right? So guess who they put ahead on the front line with a flashlight and a machine gun to scare them all out? And they're on top, trying to see where they are because they're going to come out through all their holes that they got to come up through, and you're going to be right there waiting for them. If it's at nighttime, you got your night vision on and everything. But if you got those big leaves that are growing off the trees that they hide behind, that's how big these people are. Just big enough to hide behind a great big leaf. And these leaves are pretty big, too. They're like, what do we call them? Palm tree leaves. But they're all over the different types of plants. So we had to kill them. Kill those plants. So when they come up out of the ground, we can see where they are. Because all they do is come up out of the ground and hide behind a leaf. And nobody can see them. You didn't know where to shoot. You could be shooting blindly, though. you know, thinking that they're coming up. They're going to hear the shots and they're going to not come up. And then when it stops, then they might come up. You know, who knows? But that's why we had to hit the Agent Orange. The Agent Orange killed all that greenery and everything. So when they came up, they couldn't hide behind a big leaf. And there they were. We could get them. Because with those leaves up, they were the ones that are advantaged. Because when our head guy comes out and he's looking for a way out, and all of a sudden he sees, okay, here's one hole. This has got to go to the top. So he sees light. So, or, you know, he's looking up there and he comes up. As soon as his head comes up out of the hole, there's a Viet Cong there with a sickle and chops his head off. The guy's been dying like that. You mentioned that. Coming up out of the hole, and there's a Viet Cong that's waiting for, he's golfing. Oh, whack, there goes your head. That's the way, that's why we had to do collateral damage over there. We went into villages and we told these people, hey, you got to get out of here or you'll be considered the enemy and you could be collateral damage, you know, because we're going to wipe the enemy out of here. They're not going to exist. We're going to get rid of everything they got here. Ammo dumps and everything. Villages. Everything they've taken over is going to be wiped out. So get out of here. They tell this to these people. Now here's who they tell it to. Some guy, some farmer guy. He's got, he built a house for himself, a little stick wood house, you know. But it holds his family. He's got 8 kids. And he's got a bunch of chickens, and he's got a cow, and, you know, he's got like a little farm there, you know, it's his livelihood. That's how he lives. And we come up to him, we say, you got to get out of here, you're going to be called collateral damage, because you'll be cited as the enemy. And we're not going to say, okay, all the good guys on this side and all the bad guys on that side. We don't do that. They just get wiped out. Because we're coming through to clean house. And if you're here, this is what's going to happen. You know? That's going to happen to us one of these days. You watch and see. If we don't take those 2 laws of our books, we're going to be singing that same tune that poor farmer had to sing. Where am I going to go? I'll just take my chances here. Because if I go there, I'm going to die. I have to stay here. I might live, I might die, you know? I have a better chance staying here. So he stays here in the Viet Cong, come take his house over and use it as headquarters. And now he's a human shield. Because whenever something comes that's threatening, he brings his family out and he's got a stick with a white pair of underwear on it, waving it back and forth saying, we're just poor family, we're just poor farmers. Just please leave us alone. And all of his kids are crying and everything. And, you know, whoever it is that he perceives to be the enemy looks at it and hangs their head in pity and moves on, you know, don't do anything. And he's a human shield. If they would have went inside his place and found out what was going inside there would have been a battle. There would have been a war, man. Because they don't just sit around, you know. They got the whole place rigged, too. All they do is start pushing buttons and when you get in a certain spot, kaboom, you're out of the picture, man. They got it all hand grenaded off and everything. I haven't had a grenade go off by my head from friendly fire. I was sleeping in his bunk and sweat and all that. You stay out of my bunk, he goes. He's a petty officer, too. He says, I don't want you sleeping in my bunk anymore. You sleep here in the bag room, on top of these bags. It's air conditioning here. I don't want you in my bunk anymore. Because 75 bunks, 157 guys. We had to have that many guys because we had to pass some rockets from the tube to the launcher, and we had to have lines of people doing it. You know, sometimes we had 3 coming from all different directions. We didn't just get the rockets from one area, and then the ship, you know, if we took all the rockets out from one area, Then what would happen? The ship would go to the other side, you know? So you had to equalize the sides. You take much weight off of this side of the ship, and then you go over here and take so much weight off of this side of the ship, you know, back and forth. You had to have all the guys to do it. So that's why we had 157 guys on the ship, because we had to handle it by passing a rocket from one guy to another to the elevator that took it up into the launcher. And we were pumping out 16 rockets every 3 seconds. So you can imagine how fast them lines were going, supplying the elevators and stuff with rockets to put in the launchers. Well, we were only operating on 4 launchers, so that's 8 rockets every 3 seconds that we were blasting off at the villages. And we had a 7-mile range. Within 7 miles, you got 8 rockets coming at you, 16. Full range it would be if we used all the rocket launches, all 8 of them, 4 on each side. Yeah. Yeah. With 2 rockets come out of each launcher. So there's 4 on each side. So on one side, 2 rockets coming on each launcher, and there's 4 launchers. That's 8 rockets. So we broadside them with one side, and then turn around and broadside a target with the other side. I do fall asleep again. Deep. Sorry about that, people. That's called the hypnic jerk. I don't know how long it was for. I won't know until they play it back. But that's called the hypnic jerk. I go through that all the time. See how I came? Now, if I went to sleep, I'd be out, and this film would have ran out. But the hypnic jerk is you're not out, and then all of a sudden you come back to where you were before you went out. And you do that 7, 8 times a night, trying to get sleep all night long. And finally, you get up, and I've read now that your brain has these, what it is, it fights wanting to get up. Like you want to get up, but you don't. But if you let this chemistry loose in your brain, that's just sitting there dormant, needs to be, activated by movement and exercise and all that. If you sit there and you got one of those little EPOB vibrators, and you vibrate your brain, your whole head with it, nice and easy, just go through it and just vibrate your scalp and vibrate your head. You release all of that buildup that's in your brain that keeps you from wanting to. In other words, you're procrastinating. You want to do it, but you don't do it. That keeps you from doing it. This vibrates it's a chemistry in your brain. It shakes it loose and lets it loose. And you want to get up and start doing things. I tried it. See how many times now? For the since I found out about it. because it was a special on TV. But they said do it with your fingers like this. They didn't have anything to do with the vibrator, right? But they had your fingers, and you're supposed to do this for 50 times. 50 times. You know, you count 50 times. You know, you're going like that. And what it does is it breaks up the enzymes and all that stuff in this chemical that's just laying there, dormant. It needs to be shook up and moved through your brain. And how many people sit down and do this to themselves in the morning? You don't do that. You know, shake their head, their neck, and all that stuff. Vibrate their neck, vibrate everything. Get everything working there. With your cup of coffee and all that stuff, you're done. And you wake up and you go, oh, wow, I'm up. I bet you even checked your heart rate before you started doing it, and then check your heart rate after you shook your brain and your neck with the vibrator. I got this vibrator. It's this one right here. This is. I'm gonna go buy another one. I want one in both hands, man, on the back of my neck. Whew, man. This thing is a good little gadget, man. It is something. Look at the tip on it. It's how soft it is. Watch. See if I can get it. Look at this. See that? How soft it is. And if you want to put, I was thinking about how to do it with oil on your skin. You can get some olive oil, castor oil, or something like that, that your skin absorbs really quick and it stays in it and makes your skin look healthy, like 20 years younger when you use it on a regular basis. Your skin looks soft and moist and tender and all, instead of dry and withered. You know, all year, all them years. You know, they're in your creases now. But see, my creases in my forehead are getting better because I use castor oil. And there's another stuff called the olive oil and castor oil. And there's a beard oil that they have that if you have a beard, you're supposed to not just let it be dry and scraggly and breaking off in your food and everything, you know. That's how scraggly it will get. Scraggly looking too, you know. So you gotta oil your hair, Bob. You gotta oil your beard. You know, I'm due for an oiling. I should do that on a tape or something. Maybe I will. Here, I'll put it on pause. You know, I'll come back and oil my beard for you. Here we are. This is a beard oil. I bought it. I've been using it. Ah, boy, my nose is. I gotta find my nose clippers because my. Oh, hold it. She's in a bad mood. Hold on.